Finally, we are back. It's 2025 and I've been chomping at the bit to get back into the routine of posting. I feel like I lost my identity over the last 2 weeks. Just didn't know what to do with myself. Found myself just strolling around the neighborhood because I just didn't know what to do. So it's actually a blessing that I can come back with some content to provide in the new year and talk about the updated predicted 23 going into 2025 essentially. What have we had? We've had 6-7 weeks of pre-season, so been to a fair few of the trainings and have gotten a bit of a gauge of what the team are looking for, what type of role changes they're trying to achieve in this period. So with all those factors and along with some injuries, we're going to have another crack at the predicted 23. Last time we did it, it was pre-draft, it was pre-delisted free agency. So it's going to look a little bit different. And we'll start with the back six. So my back six, we've got Jeremy Howe, Charlie Dean, Braden Maynard, Dan Houston, Darcy Moore, and Josh Dacos. So the omission there, the obvious omission, perhaps would probably be Harry Perriman, but he'll feature later in the segment of this video in another third of the field. And we've elected for Josh Dacos there instead. At training, it seems quite obvious that the club is really keen on keeping Josh Dacos where he resided for the large part of the second half of last year for good reason. I think we were all had assumed that maybe he'll just return back to his wing position, and he probably will at some point. He'll probably rotate through there, given on injuries, form. Are our wingers that are there to start the season, are they going to do a job, or do we need Josh Dacos back there in his All-Australian position? So that's a question we'll ponder throughout the early stages of the year. And then he'll pair up with Dan Houston and do what they're going to do. And it's going to be very exciting what we're going to be able to do with our ball movement moving forward in this year. So really excited to see those players with their ball in hand. I failed to note that Quaynor will be our interchange player. He may play wing. He's been one of the outstanding performers for Collingwood in the preseason thus far. So expect him to have a big year and a really good bounce back relative to 2024. We have, I also maybe one that will probably debate a little bit furthermore in the comment section, with Charlie Dean being selected over Billy Frampton and Reef McInnes. So what's my rationale there? I just think we need to give Charlie Dean more of an opportunity. The biggest knock on him has been his one-on-one capability and suggesting that he's not a key position size, but he's 6'4". Nathan Murphy was 6'4", and you could argue Charlie Dean's a little bit more stockier and has more intercepting prowess, whereas Murph was just a real good lockdown defender, and that was his one wood. So I would like to see Charlie Dean given the go-ahead to start the season, have a really good stretch of games, maybe 6 games, to get a really good sample size of whether he's going to be up to at AFL level, because he's more than capable at VFL level. It's very clear. So Charlie Dean, that's my rationale for having Charlie Dean in the back 6. Why I don't have Reef McInnes? Well, if you haven't watched the video that I made, I think the title was My Honest Opinion on Reef McInnes' Role Change so far. I'll share that in the comment section. I'll pin that if you want to watch that after this video. But there's a few things I still want to see from Reef McInnes going into match simulation and preseason games. And I won't give away too much, but some of the things that are keeping me from putting McInnes into the back starting 6 straight away is just the fact that he has had no exposure as a defender. So to build up his resume in the VFL, gain that confidence, his awareness around the ground, and being able to actually take marks, and if not with his spoils, be more effective with his spoils. So go to that video and I'll make more sense of it in that video there. So, and then Billy Frampton, when I first put this team together, I did slide him in, but I'm then, hold on a minute, like, we know what we get from Billy Frampton. Can he improve? Maybe, we'll see. Anyone who wears a black and white, I don't care if you're Patrick Cripps. If you come and you're wearing a black and white, I want you to do well. If you're Jack Madgen, I want you to do well. I don't really care who you are, what you do. Just play well for the club. And give it your all. And Billy Frampton does give it his all. So, but I haven't seen much from Charlie Dean. I've seen enough of Billy Frampton to know what his ceiling is. So that's my rationale behind that. Any other glaring omissions? Ryan, Di Mattia in the reserves, Will Parker, Markov, Giath, Joel Cochran. That, to me, that all makes sense. And then Jeremy Howe, as long as he's willing to play, I want him in my starting 6 every day of the week. He's so versatile, can play forward, play back, can play second key tall, third key tall, intercepts the ball. His spoils are really effective. Take note, Reece McInnes. And then we got Brazzy Maynard, heart and soul of the club. So you've got to have that in there. So that's my back 6. I'm pretty happy with that. And we'll roll into the midfield. So with this, I'll explain. You can see on the screen now. You've got side bottom is my winger. Nick Dacos is the centre. Crisp is the other winger. And then DC, as in Darcy Cameron, will be our ruck. And then the followers will be, or ruck rovers, maybe they call them, is Jordan De Goey. And there is Harry Perryman. So maybe a little bit to unpack here. Side bottom on the wing. I know he thrived in that midfield position late last year. So there's a chance that he does just alternate, which is he does that in the past. He has done that frequently. So side bottom, whether it's on the wing or in the midfield, rotate through. So be it. Anyone who plays under Fly McRae needs to be able to play multiple positions, and we've shown that in our acquisitions in the off season with Houston and Perryman, right? Nick Dacos, what do I have to say about that, man? Jack Crisp on the wing. I really struggled to find a position for him. What's his best position, in my opinion? Midfield. But I don't think there's room for him there, but we need to graze these younger players. Perriman's a few years younger. Nick Dacos, De Goey is 2014, so he's a little bit younger as well. So probably just going with a bit more youth to take us into the future, which is why I've got Crisp on the wing. But you'll see Crisp play wing, he'll play high half forward, and you'll see him in the midfield as well at times. For the most part, he probably averaged 50% midfield time last year, so that gives you a gauge of what you might expect next year, depending on how Harry Perryman goes in the black and white. I saw him in some match simulation at training, played through the middle, and in limited time that they played the match simulations, just because it's so early in the preseason, they don't want to get too ahead of themselves. He did really well. He won a few centre clearances, linked up well with going inside 50, good tackles. These are things we've already discussed, and I've made a few videos analysing some of his games. So once again, if you want to see some of those videos, they're in the archive somewhere. Just search up Harry Perryman on Pies Footy and you'll get a few videos actually analysing games. I think there's a video called "This is the Game That Made Collingwood Sign Harry Perryman." Look for that one. Look for that one, and you'll see what I'm talking about with Harry Perryman and the skill set he possesses to be able to play multiple positions and do a job as a defensively minded midfielder. Darcy Cameron's an obvious one. De Goey, I've got him in the midfield, but I think he plays if he's healthy, 60 midfield, 40 forward. But I wouldn't be opposed to 50 midfield, 50 forward. You see what he could do when he plays in the forward line against Adelaide. I mean, Adelaide is just one game, but we've seen many games. He's kicked 50 goals in a season in 2018 as a genuine forward. So he can do it all. And just to have him on the field is more than enough, in my opinion. And then save him for the finals. Not save him, but have him fit and firing, ready to go to play in the midfield when needed in the finals when he brings the best out of himself. Who else? Pendlebury on interchange. I don't think many of you would be too upset with that. I wouldn't have him over De Goey, wouldn't have him over Perryman, I wouldn't have him over Nick Dacos. Given the age, demographic, and just where we're going as a club, he'll still be playing. He just starts on the bench, no big deal. And I've got Ed Allen as the sub for the starting 23. I'm intrigued to see if you guys have any qualms with that, because I just don't think we need to throw him to the Wolves just yet. In the next couple of months in the preseason, maybe he'll prove us or prove to the club that he should be starting, and that's the bottom line. But for now, I've still got him as a sub. Tom Mitchell, I've still got him in my reserves just because of that injury. We don't know what this year looks like for him with that foot injury. It's a difficult injury that he's going to have to overcome and deal with. Finlay McRae is still in the reserves. Patrick Lipinski might be an interesting omission for you guys. Just, couldn't put him over Sidebottom or Crisp. He's had a good preseason though so far. Ned Long needs to work on his disposal. Lockie Sullivan, composure. Harvey Harrison still recovering from his ACL. Maybe we'll see him mid-year. He's just progressed into, or when preseason was still on, he had progressed to cutting angles and agility rather than just running straight lines. So he's turning a corner now, both literally and metaphorically, which is good. So that's our midfield. And then finally, our forward line. I'll read it out. We've got Elliott, Mychek, Schultz, Membry, McStay, Hill, and then Cox and McCreary on the bench to finish our team. So Jamie Elliott is another one we don't have to make much of a case for. He's a walk-in startup. Had a underwhelming end to his, or returned from injury for the second half of the season, but his first half of the season was really impressive, and while not many people were playing well, he was one of the shining lights in that first half of 2024. Mychek, injury riddled, but still have him in the team every day of the week. Lockie Schultz, I think we're all expecting him to take it to another level. He played well towards the latter end of the season, maybe the final quarter of 2024, and still managed to kick 25 odd goals. So does he have another step, or maybe other players the whole team will just work better collectively? We'll see. I don't know. Tim Membry, I think we've acquired him. He's 30 years old, has to be starting in my opinion. McStay is another good. Hopefully we can see a full season of Dan McStay for Collingwood this year, because we've been starved of that, and he's looked good. And when we have him in our team, the synergy looks right, the balance looks right in our forward line, and we get to see Mychek not take the best forward every week, and that will be, hopefully he can reap the benefits there. Bobby Hill, I've got him there as well. Mason Cox, I've still got him in my team, and I think maybe you guys will argue with Will Hoskin-Elliott, who's in my reserves at the moment. You might argue, okay, well, we've got McStay, Membry, Mychek, Cox out, Will Hoskin-Elliott in, Darcy Cameron does the rucking, and then maybe McStay / Membry pinch hit. But I just think we give up too much with Cox, and while we've got him, I still think Cox is vital. He's integral to the structure of our team. We saw that in his absence. We saw that when he returned, he made our team much better. So I've still got Mason Cox in my starting 23. And Bo McCreary is on an interchange, but once again, this is someone who is a walk-in startup at this point for the club. Sure, we'd like to see more disposals. Sure, we'd like to see more goals. But what he does with his pressure around the stoppages and in open play, you can't not have him in the team. So I don't know. Maybe he plays more midfield time. He was trialed. They experimented with him in the midfield last year a little bit, and then he got injured, and then just came back as a genuine pressure forward. And we've seen some Bo McCreary work in the stoppage in this preseason. So yeah, that would be interesting to keep an eye on as well. And then the rest of the reserves: West, Hayes, Johnson, Steen, Smith could be a smoky. He could be someone who, if Cox is injured and maybe McStay or one of the others in Mychek or Membry, then perhaps Ilary Smith will get an opportunity this year. I definitely wouldn't look past it. And then AJ, and then Will Hoskin-Elliott. I know a lot of you guys love Will Hoskin-Elliott. I do too, but it's a coin flip for me between Hoskin-Elliott and Cox. With Hoskin-Elliott, you get versatility. He can do it all. With Cox, you get someone who can give Darcy Cameron a respite and provide aerial contest all the time. So pick your poison. I feel like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul in this case. So that's that. And then here's the final picture of our final 23 there. So I'm pretty happy with the way I've put this together, and I'd like to get your thoughts in the comment section. But I just want to say once again, thank you for the support in 2024. I was lost without this content, being able to produce content, along with being on break from work. There was a lot of time to sit on my hands, and I was like, oh, what am I doing? So it's great to get back into a routine, and I know this is it. Like, this just feels right, being a part of my routine. Actually, didn't enjoy the break. I think this is a part of me now. And yeah, I don't know if I would do a 2-week break like this. I like routine. When I come out of even when I go on holiday, I have to be doing things. So that's just me as a person. I don't think it's a problem. Maybe some of you will, but I genuinely think that routine is important, and why would you want to break it if it's not exhausting you? And I didn't necessarily feel too exhausted from the year gone by, and I'm grateful to be back. So once again, thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and as always, go Pies.